morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I could see some people from Asia. It's good evening over there. My name is Ray Williams, and today we're going to have a very nice meeting, which will cover some small improvements that we made to the system, as well as introduce you to three of the brands. Some of you might know these brands already, but we have EastWest, we have Fluid, and we have Synapse Audio today, who are going to show us, some of their key products. I'm going to speak for about 15 minutes, and each of the presenters following me will have also about 15 minutes to talk about their products and talk about maybe some sales that they have and some exciting news. Before we jump in, I just want to thank you guys again for signing up for this meeting. This is 2024, and in general, we always look at the early part of the year, try to figure out what's going to happen, all the things that are happening in the world, things that are happening in our industry, trends, and we try to spot them early. We have a lot of data that we analyze, and we will convey them to you and the vendors in a separate meeting as we go through the year. And we want to do these meetings every month because we want to have a little bit more of a connection with you, and we want to also have more feedback from you as we go through the year, rather than the approach that we've had before where we would, maybe see you once or twice a year. Let's just go through our presentation. We always like to start out with IMSTA. We're a huge supporter of IMSTA. As you know, we're involved with IMSTA as well. IMSTA is the International Music Software Trade Association. It is an advocacy organization that is, basically working for the software industry and advocating for it with people in the music instruments industry in general, people like NAMM, people like Music China, and so on. IMSTA has organized, for example, opportunity for our members to exhibit at Music China in October. And of course, we have software.NAMM at the NAMM show. So every time IMSTA is stepping forward, of course, it's doing it with donated funds. If you have an opportunity to contribute, please do. Nobody's driving any Mercedes or Porsches working for IMSTA, but it's a totally do-good organization. Today, we have three companies. We're going to start with Fluid. After I finish my part of the presentation, they make speakers, headphone microphones, and audio interfaces. Then that's going to be followed by Synapse Audio, a maker of the famous Dune synthesizer and other products like Obsession, The Legend, Hydra, and so on. And of course, who doesn't know EastWest? We'll have Dinsha Sanjana here, who will be talking about some of the new products and a current promotion that they have. And generally, any questions you have about how you can access EastWest products. EastWest is perhaps one of the longest serving companies in our industry. There are 42,000 instruments, and they have a very successful subscription product. So if you guys are looking to get a subscription product that I think has legs, this might be one. And subscriptions, it could be hit or miss. I think there are really two things that govern the success of a subscription. And I've been saying this for years. One, it has to be an industry standard, like something that you're forced to purchase, something that you have to purchase to be in the industry, something like Pro Tools, okay? Even Auto-Tune, products that you just have to have. Those products could perhaps be successful as a subscription, and also products that are overwhelming value. So for example, 42,000 instruments from EastWest. If you were to purchase all of those separately, first of all, you would need several hard drive arrays to store it all. So no one is going to download 42,000 instruments. So in this case, it probably makes sense to buy a subscription where you can access any of these products at will. So we would say that, the EastWest Composer Cloud is probably one of the best, along with Pro Tools and these kind of products for subscription. But then she'll talk more about that later on. This is the rough outlook. This early in the year, it's hard to know what the year is going to be like, but if you compare it to last year, at this time it was trending downwards, and we had a real big kick in the last quarter. So this year is a little bit different. It's trending upwards. And, this is in the United States an election year, so we don't know what the last quarter will be like, but it's going to be fun no matter what. And we have reseller counts have been shifting and vendor counts. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but the product count continues to grow. And the reseller count has come down quite a bit because we've purged a lot of people out of the system. The comparison for the last 12 months to the previous last 12 months, which is basically 13 to 24, this is running at 8% above that. I think a lot of that is just a strong Q4 from 2023 that's pushing those numbers up. And currently, the year-to-date trend for 2024 versus 2023 is running about 1% higher. So this year, it's hard to tell, but it's initially here, as we're coming to the end of quarter one, it doesn't look like we're going to have any sort of negative impact in this sector. I know in some other sectors, if you guys are getting the MI sales track and some of the MMR reports, guitars and some other areas might be going down or up, but our sector, which is the technology, music software, music technology hardware, it looks like we're having no negative impact whatsoever. Now we're tracking now the hardware sales on Exchange. This is the facility in Singapore. This is one of the most unique facilities around. Those are robots. The orders are fulfilled by these robots. I promise you, yeah, that's what happens. They lift it up, bring it, and people pick it, and then robots put it back. And we've been tracking hardware sales over the platform. It's sitting at 3% right now. We expect by the end of this year, this is going to grow to about 5%. And we have Leal, who was here last time, Vic Boot, Avid, all these products are shipping on the HD system quite regularly. And of course, we have some new companies like Fluid coming on the system. So by the end of the year, we anticipate, 3 or 4 other significant entries onto the system, selling mainly this type of product, technology products, speakers, sound cards, small mixers, basically things that you would use surrounding the software purchase. So we're very happy about that. We think it makes a lot of sense. We believe this model works for a lot of retailers, not for every retailer. Some retailers have lots and lots of money and you can leverage that to have lots of inventory. But a lot of smaller retailers have to be very careful with their money. This model where you basically list hardware products and have a fulfillment center, either ship it to you or ship it to the customer, I think this has legs. I think it makes so much sense that there's absolutely no way it could fail. News. This is kind of like the hell did freeze over news. For years, Waves has been, another system. It's a VSSD system. Waves predates Exchange. It's the most mature plugin manufacturer in the world. I don't think there's anybody before Waves that's still here. Waves is 32 years old. It's a long time. And they've operated their VSSD system prior to, I think it started in the 90s. And we, at the NAMM show, made a deal with them basically to offer the product through the network, through the Exchange platform. And so the product's available through Music Marketing. Some of you already have relationships with Waves. Those are going to probably, for other people who are looking to get involved with Waves that has essentially perpetual sales all the time of their product. This is a very welcome news. With Waves, we have a sort of a slightly different system from them. The prices mirror the current sale price. So our Waves prices are sunk every day. So every day they sync to the Waves database and the Waves pricing. So every time you buy something on that day, that is guaranteed to be the correct price because Waves update their pricing at 5 a.m. if they take something on or off sale. So that's one of the good things. And of course, what this really means is the people that can really benefit from this are the people that are integrated. So if you can integrate, get products and get prices, either on a daily basis or however you do it, then you will never be out of sync or never purchase something at the wrong price because our price will change with the Waves price changes automatically. Now we have some new stuff also kind of related to Waves. We kind of updated the export system throughout the platform on all sides to a new sort of menu-driven system. You can now, in addition to Excel, export JSON, CSV, XML, and of course the waves, VSSD, JSON, and XML formats, which are quite popular with people that are using waves. So essentially, you could take our promotion information and save it as a waves format, JSON or XML, and then those can be imported into your website if you're doing that already, right? And one of the big keys for some of these pages now is that they're not related to the GUI. They'll take everything. There's still a little bit more work we have to do on this export. Like we'd like to have a master export of every product on the system, like all your products in one Excel sheet. I know some of you have been asking for that rather than having it brand by brand. That's not there yet, but it definitely, I promise you, it is coming. We've also upgraded the Connect page. I got a complaint maybe a couple weeks ago from a long-standing customer of our system. And, they just complained about this page and the way it worked. Of course, you guys know we have a completely new system for resellers, which is way advanced from where this is, but at least there are a lot of people still using this. So we had to fix this. And it was just some small tweaks. Essentially, we have separate tabs now for the Connect part. The Connect part loads immediately, and you could sort through the pending and the expired ones and so on. The expired invitations, this is not quite there yet. Can be revived. So we're really trying to improve the way you connect. And there are other things that we've done behind the scenes where when you make a connection now, we will force a little bit more. We would guarantee that somebody on the other side would get at least an email of your connection arriving or your request arriving, and at least they don't have to log in to see what's there. And what we're basically trying to do here is, if you log in, you see somebody in this list, we want to vet that vendor, number one, is still active, it's still responsive, doesn't have a whole bunch of other requests that are piling up there, because as vendors have piled up requests, basically unattended to, we will remove them from this listing. We do not want a situation where the data on the service is bogus or inaccurate or outdated. You will not stand for it. If you're going to be on Exchange and you're going to offer your products for sale to our reseller community, you have to be offering it to the reseller community. You can't be not paying attention, not responding. I know a lot of you had vendors you sent a request to repeatedly and there's no response. Well, we're tracking this now, speaking to them, and if there's a certain number, it's like a point system. It's like you get a yellow card, and then you get a red card, and a red card, you're off the system. So no one can send you anything because you're not responding. There's no point having you on the service if when somebody sends a request to you, you don't even deny it. Like, at least reject it, but don't let it sit there. So we have a meeting with our vendors on Thursday, so we'll discuss that more. And this is also true for the resellers, for you guys. If you get an invitation and the vendor has asked you to, they want to do business with you, you also have an obligation to either accept or reject. You don't have to accept, you can reject. But if you have a request that's sitting in your invitation page for more than 90 days, it goes expired. If you collect a certain number of expired requests, means you didn't even attend to them. Again, we're going to give you first a yellow card, then a red card. It means nobody could send you any invites. So if you're not responding to your invitations from your vendor, you shouldn't be on the list. Doesn't mean we kick you off the system. It just means nobody can send you anything if you're going to be basically unresponsive. So we're trying to improve the connection, the fidelity, the accuracy, the content that is here. That is why 30 vendors have been kicked off the system. That's why 350 resellers have been removed from the system, and there are a few more to come. Okay, and then this is the other thing. This is ongoing sort of audit of this same process. the people that are on this meeting are all engaged. You are the creme de la creme of the service, but we have hundreds and hundreds of other resellers that are in the same listing with you, that are basically obscuring your view to vendors. For example, if I were a vendor and I'm trying to assign dealers in Canada, you would see about 100 dealers. Now, let's say 50% of these dealers haven't bought anything in a while. The ones that are in there that are active and engaged like you're just being crowded out by a bunch of noise. So we want to remove the dead weight, clean it up a little bit, spring cleaning. And so that when a vendor on the other side comes in, goes into a territory, South America, and they see a list, they're seeing a list of resellers that are likely to at least respond and engage with their requests. Okay, so we're doing this on both sides. So everybody has a responsibility, right? Now, there's some dealers who just haven't had any sales. They might be responsive, but if you don't have any sales for a certain amount of years, we are very, very lenient. We're going to have to boot you off the system, okay? We'd rather have, when we started this, we had 1,600 resellers, and then we started to really just analyze everything. Now it's down to 1,300 and some. We would rather have 500 resellers on the system that are active, that are engaged, than 5,000. It's not a count. We're not here to impress anybody. We're here to do business. So if you're not doing business, you don't have to be here. You're just creating a lot of noise. And so this is why we're doing a lot of this stuff. And also, when we look out to the marketplace, we tell a vendor that's coming onto the service, that there are 800 or 1,000 resellers that are engaged with software and high tech. We want that to be true. We don't want to falsely advertise how great our reseller network is. So we have a second set of purging to do. These people are a little bit newer on the system. We would probably engage with some emails and try to reach out to them before we disconnect. But basically, if we don't get any response, we will thin down the layer. I expect at the end of this process, which should carry on until about the end of June, we will have probably 1,000 resellers on the system, down from 1,600. Okay, that's kind of my guesstimate. To complement this, and this is new, we have actually created a reseller rating system. Okay, now this is very important because we want to basically highlight the resellers who are excellent. If you're good, everybody should know you're good, right? There's no point you being good and nobody knows. So we will have this reseller rating system. The system is based on these criteria you see here. More might be added, but for example, attending this meeting is a score. Not attending any meetings and attending meetings shows the difference between two different resellers, right? There are some basic stuff like your sales, but it's based on your region. So, for example, if you're a store that's in Turkey and you have X number of sales, and you're a store in Germany and you have X number of sales, you might have double the sales of the store in Turkey, but that Turkey dealer might be five stars and you might be 3 stars, because it all depends on your region. So it is region based. It's not a global set. So each region will have its 5 stars, 4 stars, and so on and so forth. Now, who sees this? Right now, no one, because we are refining the system. We want to over time see how it changes. It's an automated system for creating the points. There's no human input. So we want to see how it behaves and how it changes over another 3 or 4 months. And then what we'll do, we'll roll it out to the vendors, okay? Not all the vendors, but again, the engaged vendors. So, as you become up the ladder, you see more stuff. And so a vendor that's very active on our system should be able to go in and say, show me all the 5 stars in this region, or show me everybody above 3 stars, okay? Now, if you're on a system, you haven't made a sale, you'll never get a ranking. So there are going to be people in there that have no ranking because they're new. So there are also new people. So new people are a separate group. But people who are on the system for a while, will get these stars. These will be visible to the vendors. Now, on the other side of the coin, we're going to also develop, we haven't done this yet, but we'll develop a vendor rating system because, again, all the vendors are not created equally. And you, the reseller, will be able to see what kind of vendor you're sending a request to. If you're sending a request to a vendor that's a 1-star, right next to one that's a 5-star, you're probably better off, doing business with the 5-star. The 1-star is a 1-star because of a bunch of things, and your expectations should not be the same as you would if you made the same request to a 5-star. Okay, so all these things we're doing is to assist the vendors and the resellers to sort of get a sense of the quality of the name on the list, because right now we just see a bunch of names. If I go back to the Connect page, you just see a whole bunch of names there, whole bunch of vendors, all of them looking the same. There's no differentiation. There's no grading system, right? So you will be able to sort them by how many stars they have. You'll be able to be more selective, and they'll be able to be more selective. And I think as a rule, the system will become better, it become fairer, and we would reward the people who are here, like you guys, the people who are doing the business, the people who are succeeding, and the people who are engaged, and the people who want to make money selling software, right? And it's like we're still tweaking it. It's 95% done, in my opinion. We might add a couple more criteria, but from what we see going through the different regions, Northern Europe, China, Southeast Asia, we can really see that it's quite instructive in that people who have high stars are actually performing better. So now I'm going to pass the baton to Fluid Audio. I think they're the first ones up, and we'll take questions towards the end of the meeting. So hold your questions. So I'll pass it over to Fluid. Is Fluid ready?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome. Good morning from San Diego. Thank you, Ray and Rajiv, for setting this up. So Fluid Audio is primarily me and my partner. I founded this in 2010. We're primarily a studio monitor brand. We manufacture everything in China. Been designing loudspeakers my whole career, starting at JBL when I was in college. Worked for several companies. I've been doing this a long time. Just a little bit of boring stuff about me and just our founding. We started with lower end products targeting what was hot at the time, 10, 12 years ago, which was smaller two-way monitors. So we started with our F5 and F4. We phased those out and we got more into coaxial design. So our big thing right now for the lower to mid range is coaxial design, and we do it slightly different. It's our FX series. You've probably seen it. PreSonus is kind of trying to copy it now, which doesn't put the tweeter in the voice coil cavity as many like Tannoy do. We have it out and flush with the front of the cabinet, and uses its own faceplate, and you get a much better performance to higher frequency. I won't get into the details, but it looks strikingly different, and we feel that the performance is quite good. So the FX series, F for fluid, X for coaxial, and it's DSP powered, the crossover, and there's dip switches on the back for controlling all sorts of functionality. Now I think I can I'll just go to our website real quick. Do you see that yet? So I'm just going to show you briefly. You can go to our website. It's fluidaudio.com. So I mentioned our FX series. You can see that here, the coaxial, where the tweeter is kind of proud up in the front of the woofer. Next, we came out with our interface. So we only have one interface right now. It's the SRI-2, 2x2, 24 196 resolution with that cool big big knob on the front, which is solid aluminum. It's a really robust design. Sounds fantastic. It has actually two. It's compatible with Windows and Mac, plug and play. The Windows side comes with the driver, USB, of course. Sounds great. We also built in two sets of outputs, and there's a speaker switcher on the front. So there is um, some of that functionality as well, because we're a speaker company. We want people to audition our speakers against other products. So you can see there on the SRI2. Let me open this and see how fast this opens. If it's super slow, I won't. Uh, so this is our SRI2, and you can see here the speaker switcher. I mean, that is one feature of the product, but the main feature is it sounds great and it's a great interface for home studio guys that are guitar guys. I use it for my production and stuff like that. So that's our SRI2. We have a microphone, which is a single pattern condenser, our Axis mic, which is one of our newer products. As you can see, coming from my last job, which is M Audio, I'm trying to build an ecosystem here for recording that's affordable, sounds great, and is cool to use. So this is our Axis microphone. Not only sounds great, looks great. Um, it's also a great deal. It comes with a carrying case with a shock mount, pop filter, premium cable, all in this case for the same price, which I believe we lowered to 239, I believe. So that's our Axis microphone. I'll just kind of hit on the highlights here on our products. If you just want to stop me, I don't know how much time we
No,
have, but
you're good. You're good. You're good.
okay. So we decided to do a headphone as well, and we partnered with this company called Real Phones, and they have a product called D-Sonic, which um, is a really cool mixing system. If you're familiar with the Slate system, which emulates studios and speakers and stuff like that, that's exactly what this does for a fraction of the price. So you get a great set of headphones, but you also get the D-Sonic software, which I thought there was a photo here. Maybe there's a link somewhere. Um, where you can mix within their environment, which is different rooms. Actually, our FX and image speakers are within the software, so you can listen to your mix through our speakers in real phones. So that's a really cool thing. That's only $69, which is kind of ridiculous price. We also have our DS5 and DS8 desktop stands, which one of our first distributor in Germany came to us and said, "Hey, all the stands out there are super expensive. Can you do an affordable stand?" So I developed this, which we call our DS5 and DS8, which is basically two pieces of MDF and four legs that are made of polypropylene that are really well damped. So, and then there's rubber. Uh, Hydrometer rubber on top and bottom to acoustically isolate the speaker as well. So you have to assemble it. It comes in a box and you assemble it yourself. But it's a really cool and inexpensive option if you just want to get your speaker isolated and about uh, half a foot off of your desk. You can build it only in two ways. It's not a fully customizable. It comes with a short leg, which is 3 inches, and a 6 inch leg. So you either build it, here it is in the short, you can see it here. Here's the short one, and then over here, I think you can see more. It's mounted in the tall way. So that's our DS stands. Um, Before I get to the image two, we also have a cool thing called the Strum Buddy, which is it's a practice amplifier. It's a small amplifier built onto a suction cup, and it has DSP within it, and you can plug in your guitar, sorry, and stick the suction cup right to your body of your guitar. It's loud enough to just sit and play as you're, whatever, hanging out, watching TV or chilling out and practicing. It amplifies your electric guitar so you can hear it. Loud enough to play and enjoy it. It also has three effects. It has for the strum buddy, it has reverb, chorus, and distortion. We call it a crunch distortion. We also have a heavy metal version, which is reverb. Um, I'm drawing a blank, and a heavier distortion, more overdriven distortion. So that's our heavy metal version as well. That's $59. It's really cool. I could give you a little demo if you so desire. It's really cool. Our latest product and our flagship is our Image 2. I didn't send any of these to the Miami warehouse as of yet, but of course we'll just gauge the interest and if so, I'll definitely put those there. So this is our flagship now. This is an 1899 per speaker um, option to go up against your Neumann 310s and your Focal high-end KRKs. So the big thing is the side firing woofers, two side firing 8-inch drivers. It's flat down to 40 hertz. Total power, so 225 watts per side. So everything's powered. There's no passive units in here. The front firing 5-inch, 5 1/4 aluminum cone mid-range, and then an AMT, which everybody's familiar with because Adam and Eve and all of those other companies made them popular. But it sounds fantastic. It's flat to 22 kilohertz and flat down to 40 hertz. The real cool feature, besides it sounding really, really great, is that we've partnered with SonarWorks. A lot of you guys already sell SonarWorks, and the current version of SonarWorks, you can basically calibrate your room as you normally would, and normally would have it running constantly in your PC. Well, you can export the calibration file now, and you can upload it to the speaker and have it housed on the speaker. You can see here's the USB connection to allow you to do that. So your room correction can be housed right on the speaker. So if you want to go outside of your DAW and listen to a track, it'll still be calibrated. Where sort of in the old days, you have to stay within whatever's in your DAW is the only thing that's calibrated. So that's a real kind of convenient function. And plus, you don't have to open SonarWorks every time and do all that song and dance. One other feature that we have is a separate DSP. So we have our default DSP, which is a flat anechoic response. And then we have something called Cube Mix, which emulates a small 5-inch full range speaker, which like an Oratone or any of those ilk, back in the day are really good to listen to emulates a boombox or whatever. That's controlled two ways, through our software, our DCT software, which uploads the calibration files, or a foot switch, which connects in the back. So you connect both speakers to the foot switch, and you can conveniently just tap on the foot switch, and it will go to QMix. So analog in, digital in, some functionality as far as trim, high frequency trim and low and etc. But as I mentioned, the main thing about Image 2, besides the excellent sound quality, is the upload of SonarWorks files, which only a few are doing right now. Wayne Jones is doing it well, but nothing at this price. This is kind of a unique proposition. So I think that's about all I'll cover today. You can go to fluidaudio.com to go further into all of our products. I think I covered most everything. If there's any questions, I'll take those now, or if you want me to elaborate on any of the products, I can do that too.
Any quick questions for Kevin? You can also put them in the chat.
We have 2 subwoofers, an 8, which we came out with first, which is the older model that went with our fader series, and we still kept it around because people like the small form factor. But that's a 200 watt Class D 8-inch subwoofer, which is called the F8S. So that's that guy there. And then people were asking for more output, so we now we have a 10. Slightly different look, and an angled port at the bottom, which you can get some ground loading and even more bass extension, which is quite convenient for bigger rooms. And that one's 200 watts as well. We are working on a sub for the Image series as well, which will be significantly more power and more bass extension.
Very good.
So I think that kind of covers that covers everything. Going forward, we kind of phased out our lower end stuff like our C5 and our Bluetooth speaker, just because going with the Image 2, we kind of going more high end and want a better project a higher end brand. But we are going to redo our C5, which is a 5-inch kind of budget speaker to go up against things like the Eris and things that are selling very well. And so we hope to have that ready in about 4 or 5 months. So that will add to our lineup as well.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. That was a great presentation. I learned a lot. Oh, Warren has a question. Where geographically are the fluid product shipped from? They're going to be shipped from Miami.
And Ray, can I replace those speakers behind you?
How do you know they're speakers? Maybe they're just props. Yes, you can. Actually, you can.
Good.
Warren, you got any more questions, or you're good? Oh, he's good. All right. Thank you so much, Kevin. I learned a lot. I think that brand is great. I'm very excited to have that on the system, and we're going to help you sell a lot of them. I think we're going to move to Synapse audio software. Synapse, you ready?
Oh, can you hear me? Or?
Yes, we can hear you now, Richard.
Okay. You should be able to follow.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, great. So my name is Richard Hoffman and founder of Synapse audio software. And firstly, I wanted to say thank you to Ray and Rahi for the opportunity to present our brand and our products. So this presentation is going to be extremely short and condensed. I'm not going to bore any one of you with a lot of details. You can read it all on our website and on our YouTube channel and so on. So I'm really going to give you just the very, very most important information about our brand and products. So what we do is we make exclusively software. We make synthesizer plugins, and they come in the common professional formats, which is VST, Audio Unit, and Pro Tools AAX formats. And so we are dedicated to the professional VST market, basically, and plugin market. And I'm going to just give you a very brief overview of our most important products. So our flagship product is called Dune. It stands for Differential Unison Engine. It is the idea is that unison means playing many voices at once, and so you can create very wide and spacious and thick sounds with basically just one mouse click, which is really cool. And what's unique about Dune is the ability to manipulate each of the voices so that essentially it becomes a multi-layered instrument, so that basically Dune can cover anything, can cover all users from a complete beginner to extremely experienced sound designers. So it caters to a very wide audience, from the novice user to the expert. And it combines different synthesis methods like subtractive frequency modulation, it can load samples, it can really do many different things. And it is most popular in the EDM area, and it has gotten the attention of very famous users, I would say, in the EDM space, like David Guetta or other DJs, Armin van Buuren, Scooter, and many famous artists all over the world in the EDM space. And also some outside the EDM space, for example, Jean-Michel Jarre also has also used it on several of his recent albums. So it is quite widely used by many people, but mostly it is popular in the electronic dance music space. Then we have a line of products which is analog emulation. So we emulate old hardware from the past, like from the 70s, 80s, analog instruments. And one of our emulation is from the Oberheim OBXR. It's a very famous synthesizer, which still visible on old songs from the 80s, 90s, where people still play it live. A very famous synthesizer. And now, of course, there's many software vendors which make analog emulations. But what makes Obsession special is that we really went to great detail to emulate all the voice ports individually. So we're not just taking a generalized approach, but we really go into great detail and really emulate each single of the voices, so that we have basically a new way to emulate polyphonic analog synthesizers, which is much more authentic than just taking one voice board or the general sound and then saying, okay, we are just going to multiply this by 8 or by 16. This is much more accurate in the way which we do it, and it's actually possible to really fine-tune every single voice board in the software too, just like it is possible in the real hardware. So it's really like a one-to-one emulation, if you will, of the real thing. So another emulation which we made is an emulation of the most famous synthesizer that exists, which is the Moog Mini Moog Model D from the 70s, which is probably the most famous synthesizer that exists. And the Legend is an emulation of just that synthesizer. It is also extremely accurate and precise and can really sound the same. We have a YouTube video which compares the original to our synthesizer, and you can really hear that it is extremely close to the real instrument. And this was is a bit an older product and created in 2017, but because it is so accurate, it caught the attention of some let's say important people, like for example Hans Zimmer. And what happens now in 2024 is that we have actually teamed up with Hans Zimmer, and we are going to release the Legend HZ very soon in the next few weeks, which is like the Legend on steroids, right, with huge amount of additional features. And those are actually conceived by Hans Zimmer, and we have just implemented it. And this is a new product which is coming out soon. And I would like to share a short video where Hans actually explains it himself. So I'm going to share it now. So because I think he can explain it more detail and actually play the instrument, so you can also hear something, right? Okay, one moment, please.
You now have a proper release phase. Legend HZ, which is basically sort of an extension of the Mini-Moog. It's pretty exciting because what we did was we put 6 oscillators in as opposed to just 3. The other thing which I love is, rather than having that switch that switches in the release phase, you now have a proper release phase. And if you pop over here, you got a compressor and a delay and a reverb and a chorus and a phaser, and of course the old fixed filter bank. But the main thing for me is it's so close to the real thing. It's absolutely, I mean, as you can tell in this room, there's plenty of real Moog goodness floating around. But here, this thing is really great. And the 6 oscillators suddenly give you something that you've sort of never had before. Suddenly you're in sort of a Vangelis type world. And of course, you should never leave the Berlin stool behind. So one of the things which is great is you have a very, very comprehensive modulation matrix, or you can switch over and you got a sequencer built in. Basically everything we've sort of learned from the Mini-Moog or about the Mini-Moog, and just taking it a few stages further. So it's really a truly wonderful, beautiful instrument. That's about it. I hope you enjoy it.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, that was Hans Zimmer showing the Legend HC. Going back to the presentation, one moment. So, yeah, the Legend HC, so it's due in April this year, so very soon, in a couple of weeks. And we're going to launch this product. And I don't know if the audio quality was good. Maybe it was now going through my MacBook speaker, so maybe that was the audio quality was crappy. But I think you kind of hopefully got the idea or understood what he said. So basically, this is what's coming next from us, and we are very excited about this collaboration with Hans Zimmer, who recently won his 2nd Oscar. So I think that could be quite useful. So basically, that was it, and I'll just put my contact details here on the last sheet, so you can find us under Synapse Audio or my name. And just for your information, usually we run like 2 sales promotions per year, usually one in the summer, one in the winter. And the winter is, of course, Black Friday, what else? And we also run resale exclusives, which is probably 1 per year. So sometimes also resellers contact us and say, okay, it's our like 50th anniversary and we want something. And then, of course, we are happy to, to oblige and give you some nice exclusive. And if you have some special events, so just contact us if you have anything where you really need an exclusive for some reason. So yeah, so that was it. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Any questions for Richard? You could put them in the chat. That sounded great, Richard. Honestly, I can't wait to get my hands on it. Honestly, I want to get that synthesizer. It sounded really good. And you have the master demonstrating it. I can't get a better demonstrator than Hans Zimmer. Well, thank you, Richard. Really appreciate that. And now we're gonna bring it home with Dinsha Sanjana from EastWest. Dinsha, you ready?
Well, thank you, Richard. That was a great presentation. I don't have anything close to that. I came on board this meeting just yesterday or the day before, so I didn't have much time to prepare much. We were in the middle of a new product launch yesterday, which took up all my time. I'd like to talk to you about that, give you a little background about EastWest and what we do. We just celebrated our 36th anniversary in the business of making virtual instruments. The company was started by Doug Rogers. He is a veteran in the sampling world, a great producer, makes incredible products. So he started 36 years ago making virtual instruments and sample CDs. In the last 5 years, his products have won 3 tech awards for the best software musical instrument. This is phenomenal because, there's so many people, so many companies making sampled instruments. And for him to win 3 tech awards in the last 5 years says something about the quality of the products that he produces. One of the reasons why we can do this and he can create these kind of products is because he owns EastWest Studios, which is a premier recording facility in Los Angeles. It's a 5-room facility, and some of the biggest movies, biggest soundtracks, biggest records have been done in these hallowed halls. We boast about at least 200 Grammy nominations in the last 10 years, which is phenomenal. And the rooms sound really great, and all the products are recorded in these rooms. The product we released yesterday is a product called Hollywood Strings 2. It's a small chamber kind of orchestra, 21 musicians. This is the Hollywood sound. The realism is there. You know, in a small software package, you have a full orchestra that allows you to recreate an orchestral piece of music very accurately. It's it's very affordable. It's available to everyone. You know, we have products where we sell perpetual licenses. Plus, we have a subscription service called Composer Cloud. It gives you everything we make and all future products for a very low subscription price. It's available on Exchange. Our perpetual licenses are all available on Exchange as well. Do you have any questions that I can answer? Well, right now, this is what we played for you. The Hollywood Strings 2 is on pre-order. It's being released on April 25th, but it's available now on Exchange on pre-order. And for customers who become an early adopter in pre-order, we're offering them a free string machine title as soon as they register. So you have to do nothing. They just register their new Hollywood Strings 2, and automatically we deposit a license into their iLock account for String Machine. So they can enjoy String Machine until April 25th, when the new product will be available, and they can download the new product on April 25th.
Okay.
So that's our latest promotion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dinsha. EastWest, as you know, has been one of the longest vendors on Exchange, and Dinsha himself has a history with Exchange, having been one of the key people that permitted it to fly at Guitar Center way back in 2009. So we always have to always reference you, Dinsha, and everybody who's on this call, every reseller. You owe your presence and your access to this thing called Exchange to Dinsha Sanjana, who just presented. So, round of applause for Dinsha. I could never say it enough. Thank you so much for all you've done for the industry. All right. And James Miles, thank you. Looks like that's a good way to wrap this up. James Miles' statement. Thank you for all the presentation and hosting today. So we've gone over a little bit, but that's okay. It's a Tuesday morning. So I want to thank everyone, Kevin, Richard, Dinsha, and all of you that attended tonight in Asia, and this morning in America, and this afternoon in Europe. I want to thank you for attending. I will see you all 1 month from now when we have another great presentation for you. So thank you very much. See you in a month.